Say hi. I've got some weird spots. Not really bad. And I'm fussy, so she's not going to her last day of school today. Wow. Oh, you want that too? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So today we're gonna try this, right? We're gonna talk about self-care, which is super, 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 super duper important, especially if you're a mom. And I feel like self-care often gets tossed out the window as a mom because everything becomes about our littles. And while I love my babes, of course, even when they're crazy and driving me nuts, I love them. But I need to do things for me. I need to show up. What do you want, baby? You want down? This? A kazoo. Actually, I wouldn't care if she broke that. Right? Okay, so, oh, jeez. So I haven't been sleeping this week. Okay. And no one's been sleeping in this week. And that means that Mark and I are more irritable, right? So this happens too. I see this a lot, is that, parents, and none of this is judgment. I'm just trying to offer my take and some, advice maybe. No, that's gross. Like, I don't know. Elsie made slime yesterday and it's like slime with water. I don't think they made it right. My dining room table is covered in slime. This is real life, people. Real life. And this is why I need self-care. Stop, baby. I'm not giving you any of that. Here. This is live. I can't even stop it, right? Okay, we're just going to power through. So, as a mom or a person, you are constantly giving to others. You are giving to your children, you're giving to your neighbors, to your friends, to your spouse, and you need to fill your cup. Like, I'm so, I don't really get this a lot, but I hear this a lot, is that self-care is selfish. And I want to set the record straight that it's not selfish, it's necessary. Before I did any form of self-care on a regular basis, I was doing things for everybody else, and I always felt empty, right? My cup always felt empty, but also like I felt worthless and unappreciated because momming is hard and nobody comes home or gives you a raise or money or praise for keeping the kids alive. Even on hard days, like, it's hard. And it's like Groundhog Day. You get up and you do that every day. And yeah, they tell you, it only lasts for a little while. Find the moments. And that's great. And I try to do that. But if I didn't fill my cup on a regular basis, my girls would get a different version of me. They would get an overtired, exhausted, drained mom. And they, and when I'm like that, I'm short-tempered, I'm irritable, like. So today I'm getting a massage. I get a massage every 3 weeks for my back. And I had someone say to me, what? That's my mom juice. You can't have it. You can't have it. Here, you can have this. This is literally she just doesn't want anything. But I can't put her down. We can't be apart. So, Mark took off today. Took a sick day because he hasn't slept all week and he can't concentrate and I can't send her and I have a massage and I'm not missing it. I could cancel. Mark was already planning on taking the day off because he hasn't slept all week and then he didn't sleep at all last night. Will you stop throwing stuff? What's wrong? I don't know. Oh, I just don't feel good. And so I had someone say to me, oh, I wish I could get a massage. Or I wish I could just leave my kids and go get a massage. And I was like, dude, why? Like, why? So, Maybe they do wish, right? But if there's something like that you really want, then you need to do it. And self-care does not have to cost money. Self-care does not have to cost money. Self-care can be reading a good book and like taking a walk outside. Like, so I love nature. I love plants, gardening. Like, so sometimes self-care for me is just playing in my garden, right? It's just doing something for me. Self-care can look different for everybody because it's something that you do for you, right? So every weekend I try to tell my girls, my group, I want you to take some time for you this weekend. And today we're doing a challenge for prizes, and I want them to tell me today what they're going to do this weekend for themselves. So I want them to make a date with themselves, to make a plan and to keep it. So we've got tons of different varieties of girlfriend. And so without self-care, this just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, right? So even when I was talking to my successty this morning, she's like, all right, so what's your plan for today? Because she knew my ass did not get up at 6 to work because I didn't even set an alarm. When she cried herself to sleep and then was up half an hour later crying, I was like, yep, not even setting that alarm, not doing it, right? So that, to me, this week has been self-care. I have not been getting up at 6 o'clock to work because I'm not sleeping. Self-care looks different. You need to take care of you. You need to show up every day in some way, shape, or form, so you need to figure out how to do that. Yesterday, some self-care for me was I only did 5 minutes of my workout. Sucks. I hated it. My challengers were like talking me off the ledge. They're like, you don't have to be perfect every day. And I was like, perfect isn't even on my radar. But this is what I do. I motivate people to push through. How can I... This is my anxiety. Like this. It's alive. So yesterday I did 5 minutes of my workout and I had every intention on pushing play again, and I didn't. I just didn't have it in me, right? So I didn't do it. Where are you going? To chase Harley. I don't even care. Don't even care. Oh my gosh, this is the worst live ever. I apologize, guys, but personal development, self-care, going to lunch by yourself, having coffee by yourself, taking your coffee, telling your spouse, hey, I need my coffee today outside in peace. Self-care. It's a weekend, guys. I want you to find 30 minutes. I want you to find 30 minutes for you. Hey! We okay over there? I think she was pulling Harley's tail. Exactly. So guys, if you are not taking care of you, you can't take care of anybody else. It comes down to that. When I wasn't taking care of myself, I was in no way, shape, or form to take care of anybody else, right? It wasn't until I started putting myself first, and I actually kind of thank my disease for that, my alcoholism. My alcoholism forced me to put my recovery first, and that forced me to put myself first, right? Because I had to think about what would that situation do to me? What would that do to me, right? And that's a good habit to get into, guys, because think about this too. So my personal development, I don't remember what book, but there was one book, few books probably, I've heard it several times, is you have to think before you say yes. Because you need to make sure that if you're saying yes to someone else, that you're not saying no to yourself. Right? So Chalene Johnson is really good on this. She's got trainings, free podcasts, YouTube, out the wazoo. But she talks about setting your top priorities, right? So knowing your top priorities, and then most of the decisions that you make are based on that. And guys, this is something that I see all the time. If you listed your top 5 priorities, would you be on it? Are you on that list of your top 5? You? Most people leave that off. It should be number 1. Maybe number 2 if your faith is super duper 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 strong, right? Like, I'm not going to get into it, right? But you need to be in the top 3. You need to be in the top 3 of your priorities, guys. No one is going to fill your cup for you. No one is going to just be like, hey, why don't you just take some time for you today? Unless you're fucking falling down that well and people are like, dude, you need to take some time for you, right? Why do we have mental breakdowns? Why? You have to take some time for you every day. Guys, this life is hard, especially if you're working on yourself. Actually, I'm going to say, especially if you're not working on yourself. Chances are you live the same hard every day and you're getting pretty down about it, right? So start filling your cup. What are you doing for you? So is it lunch with a friend? Is it a date with your spouse? Is it time for you? Do you go to a cafe and just don't, I need to make sure the door's shut. Hang on. Never a dull moment with Cora. And so Cora is, I love her, but she's nonstop, guys. She's nonstop. So when she does stop, I struggle to do the things because I just want a break. And if you're going, and you never give yourself that break, that time to relax, then you're just going to burn yourself out. And guys, it doesn't have to be half an hour. So, Headspace is a really good app to get into meditation. So you can meditate for 5 minutes. Guys, 5 minutes every morning. Do it for a month. I want you to try to find something that you can do every day for a month for you, even if it's 5 minutes, guys. 5 freaking minutes. I want you to do a 30-day challenge for you. How much better are you going to feel at the end of that month? I guarantee better than when you started. Guys, I didn't get all this self-love, all this self-confidence, this like attitude that I'm just going to fucking be me no matter who has a problem with her or what it entails. I didn't get that by throwing myself under the bus. I didn't get that by wearing myself out. I didn't get that by putting everybody else first. I got there because I realized that my loved ones deserved the best of me, not what was left of me. And that's what was happening. The people in my life that I loved, that I cared about, they were getting what was left of me. And now, what are you doing? What are you doing? Just playing. Okay, we're gonna go back. I think Mark's coming upstairs. I don't even know. So it is so important. So Headspace is a free app, and that is basically an introduction into meditation. So I'll be honest with you guys, I've never meditated. And so I'm thinking of trying that app for myself. And then I mentioned this on my live earlier, but I didn't actually get into it because I'm so squirrel, so the app that my husband's been using, if you watched my mental health awareness video where I went bat-crap crazy, basically. Very fitting. I mentioned an app that my husband has been using, and I downloaded the app and I haven't started it yet, but it's called Youper, Youper, and it's an AI therapist, basically. And so you can set an alarm on this app every day at a certain time, and it will check in on you. So if the evenings are your down point, or the mornings, or you want to have a midday check-in, so Mark has to set it at 12:45. So every day at 12:45, he gets a message from this AI And it's like, how are you doing today? And then he responds, and they just have a conversation. And I like that because so many of us feel like we don't want to tell other people how crazy we are, right? Like, I don't really want to go spend a bunch of money to tell a therapist how all this shit is in my head. Like, I just don't, right? And so I think a lot of people are kind of that same way. Like, well, why do I want to go waste my time and money when I know this is in my head and I just need to find a way to get past it, right? I'm not saying therapy is bad. I think therapy is always good. But me personally, like, when I know this is something that I just have to, like, rewire, kind of, you know, I'm frugal. I'm so fucking frugal, right? And I spent thousands of dollars on my EMDR therapy. So I'm all down for it. But at this point in time in my life, like 3 weeks ago, I was on top of the world, right? Like, I'm like, well, do I really need it? Or do I need to just maybe invest more time in me? So I need to make sure that I'm taking care of myself every day before I try to give to others. Because that is one thing that sometimes keeps me in the game and sometimes takes me out of the game, is that my job, I'm constantly showing up for other people. And that is good for me because I have a servant heart. So even when I'm not feeling like I deserve anything, I'm always going to show up for other people. And so that's good for me. But when I feel like I have nothing left, it's hard for me to reach out. It's hard for me to invest, to lift someone else up. And I will tell you guys that because that's what I do for a living, when I'm low, I get that same help from those people. And part of that is that I will reach out for it. Like, no one, like, I'm not going to say nobody because maybe, but, you know, people aren't just going to reach out and offer help. I mean, I do. But the majority of people don't just reach out and offer help. You know, in some ways, people are incredibly selfish because they only care about what they want, but they're not being selfish in the right ways. You know, if you really want something, invest your time in yourself, invest your time in your goals, and set a reasonable plan to get where you want to go, and stop settling for mediocrity. But in order to do that, you have to believe that you're worth it. You have to know that you deserve good things, and you do that by self-care, by taking care of yourself, guys. It's so hard to do all the things that we do on a daily basis. If you're taking care of kids, loved ones, spouses, sick family members, it's hard. It's tiring. You have to take care of yourself. Because if you're taking care of those people, you obviously love them. You obviously want to give them the best of yourself, but you don't realize that you're giving them what's left of you. Because you're not filling your cup. You're not taking care of yourself. And so it's not selfish. It's not selfish to find daycare and put your kids in daycare if you're a stay-at-home mom that you just need a couple freaking hours a week. That's not selfish. You are making a huge, you are being so selfless in the fact that you've, given up a career or anything like that to stay home and to raise these babies. That's huge. That doesn't mean that you don't deserve to pamper yourself or to take some time for you. It's necessary. It's necessary. So what are you guys doing this weekend for self-care? What's going to be your self-care? What does your self-care look like? What kind of things could you do on a regular basis or a weekly basis that could help fill your cup? What kind of stuff do you like to do? Guys, I went my whole life before even realizing that I had a freaking hobby. It wasn't, because, when people would ask me, what kind of hobbies do you have? I'm like, honestly, drinking. I don't think that's a hobby. And I was like, anything that goes along with drinking. And now I'm like, okay, I love gardening. It's something that I do for me, and even, my back doesn't like it.
Thank you.
I don't fucking care, right? There are some things that I'm willing to do and to take whatever it brings, right? So I just want you to guys know that it's important for you to put yourself first. I love personal development. So I tell my guys, you can do podcasts are free, YouTube, even just searching inspirational TED Talks. So TED Talks are 10 to 15 minutes. So searching inspirational TED Talks, listening to those.
Good job, Corey.
Go get your hair cut. Whatever. But here is something that self-care is not. Self-care is not. Harley did scratch her. Just got a scratch on her arm. Guess she doesn't leave her alone.
She probably deserved it.
Oh, she definitely did. She was sitting by the door. I heard her. I heard Harley hiss, and I was like, what's going on over there? Corey just sat there like, I didn't do anything. She probably wanted to cry from the scratch. Mark's making me shake. So, this is real life. I'm going to probably go real soon. But, where was I going with the TED Talks?
Inspirational TED Talks.
Yeah, I got that. Corey, no!
I'm on it. What is that?
Candles? Oh. That's my timer, so I didn't go live for an hour.
What'd you set it for?
21 minutes.
20. So you couldn't even set it.
So I had to get I got a minute to get over here. I wanted the full 20.
6 feet away.
Go turn it off.
You sure you can't reach it from where you're
Go turn it off! It's in the other room! Ma!
Crazy, my man.
This is totally real life over here. And do you see this? I keep seeing this. It is not a disease. I don't have some kind of... This is crap from weeds that I was weeding the other day because I haven't taken a shower. I think that was yesterday. So I have dirty yard gardening on my arm. Legit. And I'm going to get a massage like that today too. Sorry, Phil. All right, so download the app, Headspace, Youper. If you need someone to check in with daily and want that AI, it's, I don't know. It's free. And also, so if you don't have therapy covered by your insurance or you don't have the time or money, it's a great free alternative. So try that because it's so important for you to take care of yourself, guys. I talk about that all the time, but self-care is one huge thing that keeps me out of that because I feel myself climbing back in every now and then, right? If I don't stay on top of the self-care, my feet don't stay on the ground. And it's one of those tools that I've implemented that sometimes I'm not the best at. And I can tell when I get really low. I ask myself, when's the last time you did any personal development? When's the last time you had any alone time that you weren't working? Right? So sometimes with me, guys, I also like to just soak up some vitamin D. So I'll just put on some PD and I'll just sit outside in the yard for 5-10 minutes, right? I mean, I don't get a lot of time with Cora. And in summer, I'm not going to have anybody to watch her. So really not going to get a lot of time. So I'll be keeping you posted on how I'm making time for me, but I fit it in there. Everybody has pockets of the day. Everybody has pockets of the day. Get the Headspace app, meditate for 5 minutes. If you have coworkers that you can't stand, if you have shit at work that you can't stand, you don't need to take that shit home to your family. So meditate for 5 minutes before you leave that crap place and then go home and give your family the best of you. Because that's what we want, right? That's what we want. I am doing much better. Even Mark was yesterday, he's so I feel like it's safe to say you're doing better. And I was I'm definitely better. I'm not 100% because I wear out easily. I'm more tired. So the depression, it just makes you tired. When you're battling with your brain all day, it's exhausting. So I'm not sleeping. Sleep is vital for my mental health, guys. As a mom, that is something that I've totally noticed is that if I get crappy sleep, I'm in a crappy mood. And the only thing that seems to do it is workouts and cannabis. So I definitely make sure I get both of those things. But yeah, so I see Callie. Hey, Cal. Callie was my motivational support yesterday. I was doing the same to her. And then when I was I don't want to, she gave it right back to me. And I love that, my guys, my girls, I say these things to them all the time. And so when I'm struggling, they say the same things to me. And it's you should be doing the things, but sometimes it's hard to take care of yourself. When you feel yucky, you just kind of want to wallow in that yuck, especially if it's a mental thing, a mental awareness, a mental illness thing. I don't know what the heck they're called now. whatevs. If you're fucking crazy, that's probably definitely not right, but that's what I call myself. That's for me, not you guys. So yeah, self-care is super duper important. I'm gonna go, and I even consider my workout self-care because of the things that the trainers say to me during the workouts. My workouts when I used to go to the gym were not self-care. They were actually negative because I would just compare myself to other people, and I would literally like torture myself and call myself awful things to push myself harder in my workout. And I didn't realize how damaging that was because I didn't even really realize that I was doing it because it was just something that I did, right? And that was just how I motivated myself, not realizing that that's like a double-edged sword, right? And because I would leave the gym and I didn't look like those people. I wasn't, I didn't drop 5 pounds. It's like, oh, I did abs. I did 20 minutes of crunches. Like, why don't I have fucking abs? Like, it doesn't happen like that. And so I was just setting myself up for failure, for disappointment, for more putting myself down. And now my workouts, if anything, the things that those trainers say keep me pushing and going because I don't want to freaking do the things, especially when my back's on fire or I'm tired and I don't want to do it. But when they're telling me that I'm worth it or that I'm strong or that I've done hard things or I've been through worse, like they're fucking right. And so I have those thoughts in my head instead of the negative thoughts. And so for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is to have those positive thoughts in my head, heck guys, I even changed my trainer because I needed a certain person and a certain voice inside my head right now. That is self-care. I foregoed the schedule that I was going to follow, the new program that launched, so I could be a coach and talk about it. I need to put me first. So I'm not, I don't have FOMO. It is what it is. I know that this is what I need to do for me right now. And so that's what I'm going to do. And you guys need to think about the things that you need, and it's okay to ask your spouse for help. It's okay to ask your spouse for some time, right? And if they're cranky about it, chances are they don't know how hard it is for you, right? Like when I talk to people and they talk about getting started and they're like, well, my husband, he said no. He said it's too much money. Meanwhile, 2 days ago, I'm talking to this woman about how she absolutely hates her body. She despises her body and she doesn't even want to have sex with her husband. And so I'm like, does he know? Does he know what you deal with every day? Does he know how you're struggling? Like, does he know how this is affecting your marriage? Because chances are he probably doesn't. We don't want to admit those things that we think and hate about ourselves. But if you want the support of others, you need to have them in your corner. You need them to know why you're doing this. And, guys just don't think well, I can't say that, but they don't tend to think, well, they definitely don't think about us the way we think about us. I think that's a given. Spouses usually see each other differently than they see themselves. And, maybe they just think you're tired or whatever. Like, maybe they don't know this is a huge thing that you've been struggling with, that you cry about, right? So it's important to keep your loved ones in the loop, to keep them posted, to take them on the journey with you. Because you do love them. You're doing this for you, for them. And so sometimes we just need to fill them in. I hope that hits close to home. I know that I hear that a lot. I hear women that don't have supportive spouses a lot. And when I ask them if they know how they feel, 9 out of 10 tell me no. And I'm like, well, how do you expect them to support you if they don't know how you're struggling, what you're going through? Like, we have to, I know it sucks. I know it's not fun to say those things. We don't feel good when we say them, but you gotta let people in. You gotta let people in if you want them in your corner. If you want them to help you get where you want to go, to support you, to help you take the time, right? I hope that you're in a healthy enough relationship that if you have that conversation and you reach out, that they want you to be happy, that they want better things for you. And I hate to say this, but if you're in a relationship that you don't get that, then you better be in my inbox, because you need someone that will do that for you. And I'm sorry if it's not your spouse, because that's never a fun thing. But you have me. Okay? So, that's it. I'm gonna go. Babe, what time is it?
9:45.
20 minutes. Math is hard. Okay. I have a massage at 11. So, my massage is an hour and a half, and it's partly torture. It's not all pleasure. It hurts. I took a tramadol today, not even gonna lie. But it's necessary. And so I'm just gonna end on this, that sometimes growth is painful. Sometimes self-care can be painful. It can be painful in ways because you've never put yourself first. You've never saw yourself that way. And so if you're coming from a place of self-loathing, it's painful to grow that way. Like it was hard for me to put myself first because I thought so little of myself. I didn't want to put myself above my husband or my daughters because I love them more, right? But that's the problem. Because if I can't love me, then how can I let them love me? How can I truly love? If it doesn't start with you guys, like, it has to start with you. You have to get to a point where you really think you deserve all the good things in life. It's basically what this is, right? Like, I didn't think that I deserved the good things. But that's horseshit. And so if you're still there, that's horseshit. You do deserve the good things. Start doing them little by little. Put yourself first. Do the things. Reach out to the people. Get those 5 people in your life. And let's do the damn thing. Happy Friday, y'all.